Welcome to the Daily Dharma, a gentle podcast where we read a philosophical story every week and reflect on how it relates to everyday life. Our focus is to use Buddhist philosophy to understand the complexity of modern life and find achievable and accessible pathways to peace. Hi everyone. Welcome to the Daily Dharma. In this episode, we'll be talking about shame and punishment and how these are often two elements that reinforce each other and what we can do to break the cycle. The story that we'll be reflecting on this theme is called A Soup of Gratitude, and it comes from the book Zen Stories with Master Seiji by Daiki Shimada. Here is how the story goes. A young girl from the neighborhood approached Master Seiji, her eyes filled with a mixture of curiosity and confusion. Master Seiji, I have to present a project on gratitude at school, and I've found some information, but I don't quite understand it. Could you explain it to me more clearly? Seiji, sensing an opportunity for a practical lesson, invited the girl to join him in collecting firewood from the nearby forest. As they walked, they also gathered some wild mushrooms and herbs, engaging in the profound act of connecting with nature. After returning, Seiji prepared a noodle soup with the mushrooms and herbs over an open fire, a meal made possible by their foraging and the firewood they collected. Throughout this process, he remained silent, letting the experience speak for itself. Once they had finished their meal, Seiji turned to the girl and asked, "So, do you understand now?" "I'm grateful that you prepared this meal for us," she replied, a sense of realization beginning to dawn on her. Seiji then shared with her about the connection to nature and the gratitude for its gifts. Everything we enjoyed, like the meal we had, wouldn't have been possible without many elements coming together. And we often forget this. For instance, when we eat a chocolate bar, we usually consume it quickly, and that's it. But we seldom remember the effort that went into making it, the growth of the cocoa, the labor of the harvesters, the transportation, the processing, and even the sale. We can be grateful for all of these little things. The girl's face lit up with a smile. She quickly pulled out her notebook and began to write. "Thank you, Master Seiji. I think I understand now." I think what's so instrumental about this story is how a young girl approached Seiji with a question that undoubtedly she could have found an answer to on her own, maybe gone to her local library, maybe asked other kids about it. But she had the bravery and the courage to ask Master Seiji and to listen for an answer. And for many of us, we have been that little girl, and where we are seeking an answer because our hearts are open and we just want to understand the world better around us. But when the teacher isn't someone as kind or as gratitude-oriented as Master Seiji, that's where the cycles of shame and punishment begin. Because Master Seiji, if he wasn't a wise person, could have responded with a reprimand. He could have said to her, "Why don't you know it? Didn't you study enough? Didn't you work hard enough?" Why don't you go figure it out yourself? And that alone could be the beginning, the cycle of shame, where she feels like she is lesser than and that she has not done enough to earn respect as well as love from other people. And with that shame comes self-punishment, which often comes in the form of isolation from others and generally not feeling good enough ever. And when we don't feel good enough, then how can we allow other people to feel good as well? And how can we have enough love to offer others in nurturing friendships and relationships and connections as family? This cycle of shame and punishment is so vicious and is often taught to us from a very, very young age. And this is why I think it's so poignant that this story features a young girl. Because for many of us, including myself, that cycle begins young. And this is why, as adults, we have to allow ourselves to heal from this cycle, from either asking those questions and being met with people we know are going to respond with love, and even allowing ourselves to ask those questions and not getting to that trap of feeling stupid or feeling unwise if we don't know the answer. When we become more comfortable with asking questions without shame or without the fear of punishment, when we can slowly open our hearts to explore without shame, that's where we can really begin to figure out who we are and all of the gifts that are around us. Because in that moment, if that little girl did not get that opportunity to open her mind, to explore, to take an experience in foraging, her mind can be profoundly closed. Her heart would be hurt. And she may see this as the first step in many, where asking questions is a bad thing and that she feels lesser than. And it seems really simple, but for many of us, a similar situation happened, and that's where things began. But when we as adults begin to unravel this, we don't just see this in ourselves, we see this in other people. And in fact, I see this in the teachers that I have, because one teacher very much approaches learning as punishment. And their approach is to be as harsh as possible. And this is their form of teaching. But other teachers I have approach teaching as a way of extending the love and passion they have for the subject and essentially sharing the gifts that they have gotten with their students. And the difference in the feeling on the receiving end is profound. One approach makes you want to feel shame and accept that punishment. And then you feel more motivated to dole out punishment to others when they don't fulfill your expectations, just as you didn't fulfill this teacher's expectation. But on the other hand, teachers that are generous and full of gratitude and model this for you, they make you want to open your mind, to explore further, to learn even deeper than you need. And it is this kind of gift, this kind of gratitude and generosity that allows us to heal, to go beyond what we've been told, maybe by people when we were very young. And sometimes we may not have other teachers, but we can be that teacher to ourselves, just giving ourselves permission to explore, ask questions, seek answers without shame, and to gently remind ourselves that it's okay not to know everything or do everything properly. It's okay to make mistakes. No one should have to be punished so viciously and harshly when they were not given the chance to learn properly. And in giving ourselves that chance as adults, we're able to slowly heal and reverse that cycle of shame and punishment, as well as understand where it comes from. And in that sense, we ourselves, as teachers to others, and then as students of others, have this profound responsibility, but also the chance to receive profound gifts when we are able to have the presence of those who embrace gratitude rather than punishment and shame. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I hope you enjoy the slightly new intro, and feel free to share your thoughts on that. I've been experimenting a little bit with the intros here and there. And if you have any questions or thoughts, please email me anytime at dailydharmapodcast@gmail.com, and I would love to hear from you. May you have a beautiful, safe, and joyful week ahead of you. Until next week.